Hey everyone, Stee-da-man back again for another video, this time the Daily Race B with the GT4 cars around the Maggiore Center 2 track. You can see from the grid I set the fastest qualifying time, which is lovely. I did a couple races this week, and in this kind of tier of drivers, no one really beat that time. I didn't really join into any races with anyone of a faster qualifying time, which was lovely, given the fact that again I'm just using the DualSense. So it's just a case of defending that first place as we jump into our race just here. So you can see there I've gone for the Mitsubishi Lancer final GT4 car. So here, of course, as I said, one of the main things we have to do in this race is defend, and that's really what this race consists of. There's not much that happens in this. I don't change position. I do the entire race in first, but there's a couple highlights that I'd really like to show you. So we start off here. You can see I've gone for this lovely orange Red Bull livery, similar to the guy in second. He's gone for a bright blue Red Bull livery. So we start off, I didn't really change into second very well there, so you can see the time between me and second is just, he's gaining on me just because of that quick shift I did into second that I shouldn't really have done. I managed to hook the apex there nicely. You can see in the radar I'm pulling away slightly from this guy, so not too bad, but half a second behind me. As long as I can hook this next apex up, I should be safe. So braking late into this, taking it wide and cutting right into here, trying to take it as wide as we can out towards the grass there without hitting it, cutting right into the apex here. I took it too wide. You need to get a good run out of this here, this corner here, into this final straight. So not too bad. I managed to get out of it quite quickly, and you can see I'm gaining space, pulling away from the guy in second. So braking late just here on the line, taking it wide, then cutting in. You can see in the radar second place comes flying up, almost hits me, and just because I noticed a lot of people take that very, very tight, and if you take it wide you just get that better run. When I was doing my qualifying, I was watching some of the better videos of the top guys, and I managed to get within 0.6 seconds of the top guy, and that was the thing that he did. He took that corner wide, and you gain the most time on this track from taking that corner the best and then gaining all that time down that straight. So we come into the final straight here, and this is where one of the highlights happen. We pull out to the side here and we brake late again, come in trying to hook up this apex, and you'll notice on the radar second place just disappears out there. So I check behind me and see this last minute of mistake. So I want to go and show you what happened here. He comes in, he just touches with his on the inside there, that sausage curb, and just goes wide and hits that wall. And as I said, it's a corner you really want to get right. You lose a lot of time, but then he comes along here, gets a half a second penalty as well. So not too bad. He's quite a fast driver. If he just put his head down, did that penalty, he could catch up with me, no problem. But just here, he just decides to quit, leave the race, probably go and hug his mum and say sorry for growing up to be such a terrible driver. But I'm kidding, of course. He was a very good driver, and likely just because of those stupid mistakes. If he hadn't have hit that curb just slightly and hit the wall, done that half a second penalty, he likely could have won the race. It could have easily happened, but it's just how these things go, isn't it? Small mistakes at the beginning of a race can ruin the whole race for you. So it's just how it happens, and it's trying not to make those mistakes yourself. And I managed to get the beginning of the race well hooked up. I'm now 4.5 seconds, 5 seconds ahead of the guy in second. I think he's in the Renault Megane, and I've just started pulling away here. So it's pretty much a comfortable win from this point on. But there are a few highlights in the race, so I'll probably fast forward to show you guys what happened, and then we'll move on to our exciting race, our second race I've got lined up for you, which is the best race I had on this track of this Daily Race B for this week. So I'll show you the highlights and then we'll get on to that. So here we find ourselves towards the end of lap 8, coming up to the final straight, and as I turned this corner I realised I was catching up with Tej, and I was wondering why, because he actually qualified 3rd in the race, so I shouldn't really be coming up to lap him. So I went back to the replay, found out he had quite a bad race, and then this happened, and he absolutely wiped out there. It didn't even look like his fault, it looked like something went wrong with either his controller or his racing wheel and just threw him. But he managed to get 2 1.5 second penalties. He got a full 3 second penalty here, and if we jump forward a bit, you see that just as he's about to serve this penalty at the end of the straight, you can see that I'm kind of bearing down on him. So I wanted to double check, because I did not expect to be catching up with someone, let alone someone who was only 2 spaces behind me about 7 laps ago. So now he comes up to here, and as he serves his penalty, you can see me there behind, and I overtake him there and go +1 lap on him. So didn't go well for him, but we carry on and we start pulling ahead. So this is just the final lap. Again, not really much happened in the final lap, so I'll fast forward this bit and I'll see you at the end of this race. So we join back in, just coming up to the finish line, end of lap 10, and we crossed the line roughly 7 seconds ahead of Jim Lin, fair enough. Our other UK driver there. So not too bad a race. Quite proud of that, to be fair. Managed to hold on to first for the entire race. But I thought to myself, that was fairly boring and not as fun as I wanted it to be. So I decided to switch things up a bit coming into this next race. You can see I still qualified first, but I decided coming into this race what I'll do is I'll pull over to the side, let everyone pass, and then I'll challenge myself to see how many people I can overtake. And I was very surprised at how well I did. I thought I might be able to get a couple, but we shall see how many overtakes I managed. So coming into this race, you see me there again in the Mitsubishi Lancer. We've got another 3 Lancers behind us in the top 4 positions. So fairly confident in this race. I looked at the qualifying time, and everyone's times fell roughly within a second and a quarter, a second and a half. So everyone's qualifying times were fairly good and not too far away from mine. So I knew that it would be a fair challenge to overtake the majority of drivers in this race. So we start again, I was going to say try and change gear well there, but that's the mistake I made when I started here. I went to accelerate, but I forgot that I needed to pull into the side. So I pulled into the side here, waited for 13th, 14th here, and started accelerating. So I just squeeze in front of 14th place. There's no point in waiting for everyone. Give myself at least a little bit of a fighting chance. So we've got the Ferrari here bearing down on us. Try and pull away as quickly as we can, gain as much time on 12th, defend that corner by going entering on the inside of the track. Gained a lot of time here on 12th, just because of his skid there coming into the corner. So we start in here, fair bit of mayhem coming into this. We know we're going to get a couple spaces. See that the Audi TT is going quite slow, so I pull out to the left here just to get that inside line on him coming into this corner here. But it means when you're fighting like this, I didn't quite get the speed out of this corner that I normally would have. So I'm not gaining as much time on everyone else, so you have to minimize the fighting on the corners here. So again, still behind Mayday Mohican. Trying to catch up. Managed to gain a fair bit on him here in this corner. And I make just a tiny bit of contact on him there because he decided to brake horrifically late and then come in and push me wide there slightly. I didn't quite expect him to fly in there, so I shouldn't have really gone as tight as I did. But no real mess happened, so not too bad. Just coming in here, I decided to take it wide. End up getting overtaken by the Audi TT again. I should have defended, that was my fault there. But we concede that space when we start along this straight. The Audi TT just that little bit more powerful along the straight than the Lancer, but we should be able to gain the time back on them given the fact that they're fighting here. But I didn't expect him to go wide again, almost wipe me fully out. Pushes me off into the grass here as well, and I have to give up the space to Prince here in the Megane. So not a great start to this, but we managed to get a space back as Prince just decides he's going to kiss the wall with his face, and we come up to this first corner again, lap 4 behind the Audi TT. Try and get a good wide apex, get a bit more speed out of the corner than he does, because I know I'm going to struggle staying ahead of him along the straight. So managed to run the inside of him here, come into this bend, and we managed to gain that time on him. Take it wide, we brake just after the curb, cut in tight to this apex, and take it as close to the grass as we can. We end up getting hit by I think it was the Lancer there, but we just managed to get a better exit than Mayday Mohican here, so drag race to the end with 2 Lancers, but I managed to get that speed on him, so I take the space for now. So again, looking at this line, brake on the line, take it as wide as possible, let him pass and then go for the undercut, and it worked absolutely beautifully. So I was about to say well done me, but I feel like I'm patting myself too much on the back, but I was quite chuffed with that, especially given how bad the races were in the last video. So trying to catch up with 6th here, take that corner as tight as possible. I didn't quite take it as fast as I would have liked to. Try and cut as tightly into here, touch the grass there, try and stay to the left as far as you can, and then hit that little corner at the end with as much speed as you can into the straight. I could never, that was the thing I was struggling with in qualifying, was hooking that final 2 corners up that little chicane. But we seem to be gaining time quite well on 6th here. Try and get a good exit out of this straight. They should start fighting, and I'm kind of banking on that. I'm kind of hoping they'll be fighting. I'm by myself in my own little space, so I can just get my head down. I practiced in qualifying with so many laps. I've got the practice down. I found in qualifying I can get a 47 seconds, 47.5 second time fairly regularly, without dipping into the 48s that much. So I can get my head down, make up this space. So we're coming into lap 7 here, again looking for this line, brake on the line, keep it wide, and then cut in, accelerate at the apex in 2nd, and come out quite quickly. Managed to get that 6th position from our driver there in the blue Lancer, who made that horrific mistake, and we of course will happily accept that, but we cut that corner just a little bit too close, and it's just the risk you take for trying to take as tight an apex as you can, but we cut it just that little bit too much. So we now have a half a second penalty that we need to pay here at the end of this straight. So again, not looking too great for me. I wasn't expecting a lot. I would have loved starting this race. My goal was to get a podium finish from starting last, but that was a fair push. But here we concede this space to our Italian driver there. and we just try and get that space back. Just in my frustration, I must have pushed that a little bit too hard, and I hit the sausage curb there just a bit too hard, but we managed to catch up, try and hit this apex, take it wide, and then swing back in here just to catch up with this light blue Lancer again. I didn't get that as good as he did, so we're just losing a little bit of time here, but hopefully getting the apex on this final corner, I should be able to gain some time on this group of cars, because they, as you can see, they're all starting to fight. I should be able to use that to my advantage, make the time, like catch the time up, and hopefully it looks like maybe 4th position isn't too out of reach, so we shall see. Catching up a fair bit, 5th and 6th just absolutely wiping each other out. So I managed to get right into 5th for the beginning of the final lap, lap 10. Here just behind Dragon in the Megane. And my hopes slightly raised here. It looks like I might be able to get a 4th, even a 3rd. A 3rd would be lovely. So try and get this apex right. I didn't quite do it okay, as well as I would have liked to have done it, but hooked it up, not too bad. The Megane's pulling away. We should be able to catch, to gain some time on these final couple of corners. That was my goal. Try and get these done as well as possible. Get a good exit into the final straight, and try and get that time on them. Drag race them to the end. So coming into this final corner, you notice the Megane just completely going wide, getting thrown away, and then the TT here getting a half a second penalty, which of course if you're holding a penalty when you hit the line, it gets rounded up to a second, and then I drop into 3rd position. So a podium finish from absolute last. So I started 1st, went to last, and finished on the podium. So I was very, very chuffed with myself. So I really enjoyed making this, these two races. Again, to help the channel out, if you could like and subscribe, that would be absolutely lovely. And if you have any tips, as this is a new series, then please feel free to leave them in the comments. So thank you very much, and I shall see you next time.